Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Africa, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. America, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okello, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.
Greetings, beautiful people. I hope you're doing well. My name is Simon Javan Okello, and I'm here with another amazing episode of the African Father in America podcast. Our show is the daily African Proverbs, and I hope you're ready to share with us your own perspectives in regards to today's episode. We have a beautiful African proverb, and we are going to dissect it and learn a little bit about it, and hopefully gain some wisdom by the end of our episode today. We have 3 nuggets of wisdom that I'm going to share with you at the end of our time together today. But our conversation today is around truth. You know, the proverb speaks about truth. And as you all know, the truth is a powerful force, but it is also fragile. You know, if you have a relationship, if you have an agreement, and you don't stand by it, and you don't adhere to it, you know, you cannot take that back. You know, it's very, very easy to gain people's trust by being truthful, but the worst thing you can do to truth is to dress it up in lies, because once you do, you can never undo it. You know, you can be forgiven, you can ask for forgiveness and all of that, but you can never undo it. So today's African proverb says that the worst you can do to truth is to clothe it in lies. You can't undo it. The worst you can do to truth is to clothe it in lies. You can't undo it. If you're watching this on YouTube, I want you to share your own comments with what today's proverb means to you. And if you're watching this on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, I want you to take a moment. Also on TikTok. If you're watching this on TikTok, I want to know where you're joining us from in the comments. So just share with us where in the world you are joining us from. And also share with us what today's proverb means to you. It says that the worst you can do to truth is to clothe it in lies. You can't undo it. So, you know, as usual, when we come together here for the African Father in America podcast, especially for the daily African Proverbs, we dissect beautiful African Proverbs with the hopes that by the end of our conversation, we leave enriched with African wisdom. We also live with the idea that we have made our ancestors proud, and we have made them smile, because these proverbs are not new. These proverbs were discussed by our parents and our forefathers, and so here we are just documenting them and sharing them in the form of this video podcast, and also in the form of this audio podcast, so that our children and our children's children can also access them in formats that are more digestible for them. And I also take this as my way of, you know, getting my day started right, you know. So if you want to get your day started right, this is the platform for you. Make sure you follow me on across all social media platforms at Okello Javan, and on YouTube, where we are also live now. I want to make sure that you follow me there, you subscribe. That's one of the ways that you can support, and also give this video a thumbs up. Our conversation today is grounded on a beautiful African proverb that says the worst you can do to truth is to clothe it in lies. You can't undo it. Have you ever had friends or leaders in your community that you've put all your faith in them, but all they do is to continue telling you lies, and it gets to a point where you cannot even forgive them, you cannot even help them, you know? And if we go by the recent examples of the elections in Kenya, the elections in Nigeria, you can see that the number of people who are eligible to vote are not voting because they don't trust their governments, with their votes. So they choose not to vote, and so our proverb today is really, really beautiful. It speaks to a lot of things that are going on in the world today, and so let's go a little deeper and talk about the 3 nuggets of wisdom. This is my favorite part of the show, where we dive a little deeper, and typically we share 3 nuggets of wisdom. I have them ready here for you. The first one speaks again around today's proverb. For those who are just joining us, I see that some of you are just joining us on YouTube, and some of you who joined this show consistently are probably wondering, where was Simon yesterday? Yesterday, I'm a father of 3 kids, so 2 of my kids were sick yesterday, and they're actually still sick, and so yesterday I could not do the show because they were not doing very well. So I had to, just relax and pay attention to what I needed to pay attention to yesterday. But today things are a little better enough that I can be here for the show. Now, when we think about today's proverb, again, I'll repeat it for the sake of those who just joined us. The worst you can do to truth is to clothe it in lies. You can't undo it. What this proverb is telling us that, there is a lot of importance in honesty and integrity in all aspects of life, and it's urging us to strive to be truthful in our words and in our actions, even when it's difficult, because the truth will always come out in the end. They always say that the truth will set you free, and that's also what this proverb is reminding us about. When you tell the truth, when you're honest, when you have integrity, you sleep really well. Now, the first nugget of wisdom says that truth is sacred. What does this mean? Truth is a fundamental principle that should never be compromised or manipulated. It's a cornerstone of trust, honesty, and morality, and must be treated with utmost respect. Those of us who know people like Martin Luther King, people like Malcolm X, people like yesterday Ghana was celebrating its Independence Day, and the father of Ghana's nation is Kwame Nkrumah, and Kwame Nkrumah is also known as one of the upright people in Africa, including another upright person in Africa is Thomas Sankara. When we go all the way to the Congo, we hear about Patrice Lumumba, and all of these people did not live as long as their families and even themselves they would have loved to, because of how truthful they were. So a lot of the time, if you're truthful and you keep it sacred, and you know that truthfulness is also a sacred practice, you realize that your life can also be short, and sometimes it's better to have a short, honest, and sweet life instead of having a long life full of lies. That's what this proverb is teaching us, that it's better to even have a shorter life but filled with truth as your cornerstone, honesty and morality, and just treating honesty and truthfulness with utmost respect, and making it almost like a part of your worship and your spiritual belief. Number 2, lies have consequences. When you think about the current Kenyan president, you find that way back before he was even the deputy president, when he was the minister of agriculture, he told a lot of lies about, there was a maize scandal in Kenya. Historically, even now, there are parts of Kenya where people are dying of hunger, but politicians take advantage. They basically take maize out of the country or keep maize in storage and let people starve to death, and then they come back and sell this maize at premier prices to the government. And so the current president is known for telling so many lies. If you go to the stories he told about building incredible stadiums where similar to the Premier League standard stadiums, having laptops for every student in all schools in Kenya. And, the stories go on and on and on and on. But now it's at a place where the internet cannot be cheated. All this content these days, you can always bring back a video about something that somebody said some time back. And so the current Kenyan president is facing a very difficult time because of the internet, because people documented a lot of the things that he said. So he's not even in power for a year, and he's facing massive rebellion. So that's what this second nugget of wisdom is reminding us, that lies have consequences. When we attempt to hide the truth with lies, we create a web of deceit that can be far-reaching in terms of consequences. Lies can erode relationships, undermine trust, and lead to loss of credibility and respect. That is what the current Kenyan president, Mr. Ruto, is facing. And then finally, the last nugget of wisdom says that embrace the truth. Rather than fearing or hiding from the truth, we should embrace it with open arms. The truth can be challenging and uncomfortable, but it's the only way to grow and learn from our mistakes. Have you ever had a friend who is always brutally honest with you in a way that it's even uncomfortable to deal with such friends? For me, sometimes honest friends like that are people that I seek out, in the moment that they're giving you feedback. I have a mentor that is always brutally honest with me, that sometimes I honestly try to avoid him. But then I realize that I miss some of the things that he tells me, even though he's too brutally honest with me, he's too direct with me, to a point that I choose not to reach out to him. A couple of months later, I find myself on a phone call with him, trying to seek his advice. And then I also realized that part of being truthful, for example, with the case of my mentor, he is also struggling with certain things. So the idea of him being truthful and embracing the truth has allowed me to also somewhat become a mentor for him. So I just love this idea of embracing the truth and, and not being afraid or hiding away from the truth. This is a very difficult one. So I just wanted to share all those 3 nuggets of wisdom, and I truly want to thank you all for joining me for today's show. I want to give some of you shout outs. Those of you who are joining me on YouTube, I want to give you shout outs right now. I also want to read some of your own interpretations of this proverb. So if you want a shout out from me before the end of the show, I want you to go to YouTube. If you can, I want you to take a minute and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Number 2, I want you to push the like button and also share this link. Without you taking a minute to support by liking this video and sharing it, we can't go any further in terms of growth. So the only payment you can give me for taking my time and building a team that brings you these proverbs every single day is by supporting us. And we are just asking that make sure you leave a comment down below, make sure you like this video, and make sure you share it. Those are some of the ways that you can truly support this work that we are doing. Now on to my incredible friends, family, colleagues, and village members. I want to thank you. I want to start with Stella, who is in Kisumu and has been working very hard to make this show possible. Stella is part of my team. So if you're on YouTube, you will see her comments there. Stella says that AFIAPodcast always gives us wisdom. And that is true. That is true. Sometimes I watch the show myself. I listen to the show while driving, and I hear something that I said, and I realize that this is really profound. It's really profound, and it's useful for me. Recently, I was, my oldest daughter just turned 9 years old, and I think that is pre-teenage years. So we can sit down. I was actually on her birthday evening. We had just hosted a few family members here in Seattle, and everybody had gone to bed, and she and I were just sitting in the dining room talking. And this was the first time that I had to discuss self-esteem related issues with my daughter. And she was telling me how sometimes she does not feel like she fits in, especially in her school, where majority of other students are predominantly white. And being an African, being black and also white, she was just being honest with me. And so I didn't know how to respond to her thoughts without being truthful to her. And so I was just telling her, you're not built to fit in, you're built to stand out. And so unless you're willing to be yourself, you'll struggle so much, because you will try to be other things that other people are trying to be. You realize that a lot of the time many people are not themselves, because they're trying to be an image that they saw on TV, an image that they saw in a magazine, but they forget about themselves. So the moment you can invest in being yourself, you can even sleep better, you can even walk better, you can even enjoy life a little more better. So I just wanted to add that to Stella's comments. I also see that we've been joined here by my wonderful friend, who has also been bringing us a lot of guests here on the show, my friend Kesiwa, I hope you're doing well. I just want to thank you for always thinking of the African Father in America podcast, and I thank you for being here. I just see you celebrating and saying hi, Stella, and I see Cabs is also watching the show today. Cabs is another incredible friend that has been supporting the show very consistently. Cabs, thank you. I see that Cabs is saying, a truthful life is a personal freedom. A truthful life is a personal freedom. I love that. And then Kesiwa says that, hello Simon from Antelope Valley, California, USA. This Proverbs reminds me to be my authentic self, cause the energy taken in camouflaging who I am is mentally draining. I agree with that 100%. The beautiful thing, or the sad thing, is that if you are camouflaging who you are and you have children around you, they will know it, and then they might even try to camouflage who they are also, and what will you do about that? It will be so difficult to untangle yourself and then untangle your children. It's such a disaster. Anyhow, we'll continue on here, and I just want to give a shout out to Brother Earth, who has also joined us on YouTube, and also a big shout out to everyone joining us on TikTok. I know that some of you are joining us on LinkedIn. Thank you so much. Recently I was meeting one of my former bosses. I worked in corporate America for a number of years, and I still have relationships with some of my previous employers. And so I was having a one-on-one, meeting with one of my, like a boss to the boss to the boss to the boss of one of my bosses. And so I didn't even know he would accept my request for us to have lunch or coffee. So when we eventually met, I asked him, why did you make time for us to meet? And he said, I've found your life to be very interesting, and in fact I follow all the proverbs that you always share on LinkedIn. So that was part of my motivation to actually continue expanding the footprint of the African Father in America podcast by making it available on LinkedIn. So for those who rarely come to other platforms and are only focusing on LinkedIn, I just thank you all for watching, even though you are not commenting and liking and sharing the content there enough. I want to actually ask you to begin doing that, because this is part of my job now. My job now is to preserve African culture, is to protect African culture, is to document African culture, and this this podcast is allowing me to do that. So I just want you all to know that this is as important to me as the job that you're doing, and I want you to support me in growing this incredible space. So we are coming close to the end of our time together here today, and I truly want to thank you again, Kesiwa. After this show ends, Kesiwa and Cabs and Brother Earth and Stella and everybody watching, take a minute and share this video. Take a minute and comment on this video. Take a minute and like it, and also do the same with other videos. I'm realizing that the number of people who are watching the African Father in America podcast on YouTube, which is where we are really focusing a lot of our energy. The number of people who are watching is increasing, but the number of people who are actually deeply engaging with the content, like liking it, sharing it, commenting, is not there yet. It's not where we would like it to be. And so we need your help. We want you to, just take a minute whenever you have time and comment. And I'll personally reply to every comment of yours. So with that, I think we should let this end when it's still short and sweet. I'm working on getting a number of guests to join us on the show. As you know, we have an international audience. Some of our guests come from Africa. Some of our guests come from here in the diaspora. And so sometimes the time difference makes it difficult for our guests to join us. But I want you, if you're watching, to also consider being a guest of the show. And if you want to do that, connect with Stella. She's watching now, or just send me a DM in any of my social media platforms, especially Instagram at Okello Javan, and I'll send you a link so that you can book and become a guest on the show. Again, thank you for your continued support, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow again for another episode of the African Father in America podcast. I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. Peace and love.
African Father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. African Father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okello, live from Seattle,